Has Chris Jones played his last down in Kansas City? Say what? We will discuss that possibility as we have a brand new rumor involving trading the Chiefs defensive star here on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Tyler Jones here with you, your fearless leader. Thanks for joining us. Is it time to move on? Well, according to the folks at the USA Today, people are apparently still reading newspapers. That's news to me. They are suggesting that the Chiefs need to trade defensive tackle Chris Jones right now. Huh? Let's hear what they had to say. Hear them out for a moment, and we'll react accordingly. Nate Davis, this loser, writes the following. Perhaps, though, many league observers were quick to bury the Chiefs when they dealt Hill, their most expensive playmaker, in 2022. Moving Jones, who will be 31 at the start of next season, probably won't command 5 draft picks nor a first-rounder. But the defensive tackle's departure would clear nearly $11 million in cap space. Yes, the Chiefs would have to eat $24 million in dead money and certainly fetch a nice batch of draft capital for them with so many developing holes. Blasphemy! Blasphemy, I tell you. There is no good reason to trade Chris Jones. And we'll go a little further into what those reasons of why he should stay are and go over his impact in just a bit. But I think one thing, this guy, this Nate Davis, which sounds like a fake name to begin with. Never trust a guy with 2 first names, by the way. The fact that he kind of argues against himself, bringing up the cap hit of what it would cost Kansas City. So you're telling me they should take on a $24 million cap hit for him not to play for the Chiefs? How does that make sense? How does that add up? But he didn't stop there. More from this Nate Davis guy. Sure, Jones is still a dominant player, but he also had just 5 sacks in 2024, the fewest since his rookie year in 2016, and was left as roadkill by the Eagles during the Super Bowl. Ouch. It's almost always better to part ways with the star 1 year early than a year too late, especially when the return on investment can still be appreciable, and given the team will need to free up even more money to extend players like McDuffie and Karlaftis soon enough. This is too much reading into statistics, all right? One of my favorite guys, love him or hate him, and I know a lot of these people hate him. Bill Belichick always said, stats are for losers, scoreboards for winners. Chris Jones, he's a winner. And these statistics, and we'll go over those here in just a bit, they don't tell the full story of the impact that Chris Jones had on this Chiefs team in 2024. And this guy, he's arguing against himself here. It's like listening to Skip Bayless or something, because he's still admitting that Chris Jones is a dominant player while also trying to argue that it's time to trade him and saying that he's lost a step in all this. It's a weak-ass argument. I'm all in on Chris Jones. He's one of my favorite players ever to wear the uniform. He's one of the all-time greats. He's a future first-ballot Hall of Famer. I'm not interested in trading Chris Jones, and we'll explain more in just a moment. We want to hear from the Kingdom. Do you want to keep Chris Jones? If you do, like today's video. All right? Let's make our voices heard loud and clear. Let's get at least 1,000 likes on today's video if you want to keep Chris Jones. If you agree with this Nate Davis guy, this loser, then go ahead and comment and tell me why. Now, Chris Jones has made it very clear. He doesn't want to go anywhere. We saw the speech he gave at the Super Bowl parade last year, and he was hitting free agency, and they could have let him walk and play elsewhere for nothing last year, but they made it well known that they did not want to move on from him. And Chris Jones, even so much so as far as him wanting to stay and be a part of this, he's actually recruiting Travis Kelce to stay in Kansas City himself amid the retirement rumors. Now, Brett Veach did say this week that he anticipates Travis Kelce returning, but that didn't stop Chris Jones from sending out this cryptic message on X earlier this week. My dog got to come back. We got unfinished business. Doesn't take a genius to figure out who he's talking about. Obviously, he's talking about Travis Kelce. And I think that Chris Jones has plenty left in the tank. The CEO of Sack Nation is not resigning his position anytime soon. And you look at what he's done, the career has just been off the charts with his resume. A 3-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time first-team All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler, holds the NFL record for the most consecutive games with a sack. And one thing I've continued to reiterate is that this era of Chiefs football that we're in right now, and it's still a dynasty, even though they didn't bring on the title this year. They're still in the middle of a dynasty right now. It is the Mahomes, Kelce, Jones, Reid era. And the impact, although you see last year, only 5 sacks, all right, compared to when he had 10.5 the year before and 15.5 the year before that. There's more to this than just what the numbers say. And there's a bigger problem at hand here when it comes to the pass rush, where we'll talk about this here in just a second. Are you really going to make yourself better by moving on from your best player? And think about all the double teams he took on as well. Like, you just don't read into that when you just see the numbers and it doesn't tell the full story here. I think he's going to retire with the Chiefs someday. What do you guys think? Is Chris Jones going to retire as a member of the Kansas City Chiefs? Chime in our comment section. Type Y for yes, in for no if you'll think he'll retire a Chief or not. We are bringing you the best Chiefs coverage you won't find anywhere else here at the Kansas City Chiefs Report. We're talking all things NFL draft, trades, free agency. We're bringing you live shows every week, sometimes 2 and 3 videos a day here on the channel. If you're a real member of the Chiefs Kingdom, the only way you can prove it is by subscribing to the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Subscribe now for free. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. Let's at least get 20 subs off today's video. I don't think that's a tall task. Subscribe now. You'll be glad you did. So one of the things I look back on this Chiefs team in 2024, this pass rush was not as good as advertised. And I'll say, to add to that point, they got better as the season went along with Charles Omenihu who returned from injury. But if you want to talk actual numbers here, I would show you that the Chiefs sack rate finished about 15th in the NFL, about 7.23%. Okay? Middle of the road. Most of the regular season, they were in the bottom half, and then that late surge pushed that number up. And with that being said, yes, you had your issues with the pass rush, but you're not going to make life easier on yourselves of this problem, and I don't even necessarily want to call it a problem just yet, of the pass rush issues by getting rid of your best pass rusher. Tell me how that makes sense. The impact with Chris Jones is beyond the raw statistics and raw numbers, all right? If you dig a little deeper, then you start to see what this guy's doing beyond just having 5 sacks. Look at the Pro Football Focus numbers, for example. These grades are off the charts. Sure, he only had 5 sacks, but his overall impact of what he did to the game had a defensive grade of a 90.2, a pass rush grade of a 91.5, run defense grade 64.0, tackling grade of 67.5, and then PFF on top of that, with all their nerd numbers that they look at that are beyond just face value from these bozos like Nate Davis at USA Today, they're saying that, hey, you look at the overall impact, he's the 8th best player in the entire National Football League, combining offense, defense, and special teams. 8th best player, okay? Are you really going to let the 8th best player in the league walk out of that door right now? I don't think so. I don't think so, Jim. I don't think that necessarily adds up. And here's more from Pro Football Focus, guys that actually know what they're talking about, unlike USA Today. Mason Cameron, Dalton Wasserman, Max Chadwick said this. Jones led all the interior defenders with 88 pressures this season, earning an elite 97.5 pass rush grade. That is the 6th time in the past 7 seasons that Jones has recorded at least a 90.0 pass rush grade. Jones also missed just 1 tackle all season, tied for the fewest among defensive lineman who played at least 500 snaps this season. And maybe, sure, he only had 5 sacks, but that opened up things for other guys to get sacks with the double teams and the things he was taking on. Now, with that said, change is going to happen. We know this with Kansas City's salary cap situation. Somebody, I don't know who, somebody will get traded. But I could guarantee for damn sure it's not going to be Chris Jones. Chris Jones is not walking out that door, nor should he walk out that door. And even with this contract situation, you may not like the contract. We'll go over that in just a bit. I'd be very, very surprised. Who's a player the Chiefs will end up trading, though, this offseason? Chime in, give me a name that comes to mind that you think Kansas City is going to move on from. Weigh in and let us know. Get a great deal for Chiefs fans. Hats are on sale now for up to 50% off. Chatsports.com/Chiefs hats to get yours today. Got the flat bill version, got the baseball cap style, and plenty of hats to choose from beyond just what you're seeing on your screen. You can go see for yourself at chatsports.com/Chiefs hats. We also have other Chiefs merchandise available at that same link. It's chatsports.com/Chiefs hats. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Now, the argument that Nate Davis was making at the beginning was that you rather move on from a player a year too early than a year too late. And that's another old Belichick-ism, which is very true for the most part. But with that said, we haven't seen signs of decline with Chris Jones, contrary to what the statistics say. When the time comes to move on from Chris Jones, we will all know when that time is. Now is not that time. And then you look at the contract, entering year 2 of a 5-year, $158.75 million deal. That is a lot of money. No one's denying that. But the contract was not a mistake. Brett Veach and company knew exactly what they were doing, giving Chris Jones this deal. And he's worth it, and I want him on my football team. And I sure as hell don't want to pay a dead cap hit for him to go play somewhere else. I don't think it makes sense. If you enjoyed today's show, you'll want to keep Chris Jones around. Like the video. Appreciate y'all joining us. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next time here on the Chiefs Report.